by former BKFC cruiserweight champion ahead of headlining back again in his home city. We're talking with Chris Camozzi, returning to Denver, headlining in the Mile High City. What does that mean to you?
Man, it's exciting. I love fighting here. I get to stay in my house, in my bed, have all my friends, family, everybody come. I grew up in this city, so it's awesome to see my name on the billboards and stuff. So very, very excited. And then I get a ton of support and people always come out. So I feel like when I fight, I always see friends from like high school and stuff that I haven't seen in forever. There's always different people that come out, which is really cool.
The last two fights taking place in Italy. Do you get then a different appreciation for the being at home, for the not having to put the jet lag on the body?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't get jet lag too bad, but fighting international, which I did quite a bit in the UFC, and even before the UFC, it comes with certain challenges, right? Like it's unknown ground, finding food, figuring out your whereabouts, all that stuff. Not speaking the language gets difficult and can be a little bit tiring, but being at home, you're comfortable. You know where everything's at. I've got everything I need. So it does take a little bit of the load off as far as fight week stuff.
And obviously, everyone knows you're coming off of the very controversial split decision in October. What was the process like of digesting how the judges felt about that one?
I don't know if I'm done with that yet. No, I mean, again, I can't dwell on it, right? I've got Esteban in front of me. So for me, is it in the back of my head? Of course, that one still bugs me a bit because I can't figure out how they would ever score that for Alessio. But, that's got to be pushed aside. I got business to handle April 17th.
Is that something, though, that's still on your mind? You have the interim title ahead of you, and you'd love for that receipt to be cashed and unify?
Yeah, absolutely. With it being, like I said, it has a little bit in the back of my head. It's a motivation thing for me, right? So when I'm training now, I think about that. I think about that feeling at the end when you're tired and stuff, and it makes me push more. And it's going to make me assure that nothing like that will happen here. I want to finish. That's it. No decisions.
In terms of looking back at that fight to assess your performance, just in thoughts of where there may be holes or how you want to move forward, what do you garner from that perspective? What did you get from the last fight as terms of what you need to do to make it more definite if he does get to the judges?
Push the pace more, I would say. I think I doubled the strike count that he threw. So my output was good, but it can always be more. As cliche as it is, it's the judges will break your heart, right? Don't let it go to them. That's not always in our control. You can try everything to finish and it doesn't happen. We are still fighting. My opponents are still some of the best in the world. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Just output, just go for broke, everything.
Talk about a heated emotional situation with what happened in Italy and then turn around in the next fight that's offered to you is a guy that literally tried to steal that belt off your shoulder we saw at Ice Wars. Would you say is it more personal with the judges with the Sakaro situation rather than this might be a little more personal with Esteban because you guys had to be separated in a public setting?
Nah, I mean, here's the thing: is the belt. You can steal it if you want. I don't care. Lorenzo took it at a press conference. Move. I don't understand guys that want to steal a belt, right? You want to steal something that you need to earn. It doesn't make any sense to me. The the little interaction in Michigan at Ice Wars was more just they wanted us to face off. I don't know who started it, but we were, bumping heads, pushing, shoving. That was more heated than the belt. I don't care. I would have handed it to him because at the end of the day, if you don't win it, you're not the champion. It doesn't matter. But him and I went out. We had some drinks after that anyway. After everything cooled down, and he's a good dude, and he's an exciting fighter. So this one's going to be a lot of fun because this entire training camp has been just training for chaos and making it a train wreck.
Making it a train wreck. So you think that this one just has to be that much more brutal, almost not technical looking?
I mean, I think that's what his style is. There's tons of guys that'll tell you like, I'm not going to fight his style, I'm going to fight my game. His style draws you in, right? There's not much of a way to be, moving your feet, circling, jabbing to shut that down, because he does come forward so hard. So I'm gonna have to hold my ground, and yeah, I don't see this going past the first round.
It's kind of Esteban style, as you said. You look at, I think maybe he's made it halfway through a second round within his last three fights. So what do you do then? And how does sparring look? Does that become that much more of a chaotic atmosphere to get that kind of used to the tempo?
Pretty much, yeah. My sparring rounds are pretty fun to watch. I'll say that. I will say that because there's a ton of punches thrown, and they're brawls.
What has it been like with the team? Because I know when Denver has a fight card, that means Genesis, the team that you're at, the one of the first real gyms to have a bare knuckle kind of encompassing factor to your training. You guys have a bunch of bodies on the card. So what does that make for the team effort and aspect?
Oh, it makes it exciting because everybody's in there getting ready for the same date. And outside of that, we a lot of the guys UFC in town, PFL guys. It's the atmosphere at the gym is hot right now. I just came from sparring, and somebody almost went through a window, which is, we have a very big gym, and a guy ran a takedown off the mat and almost through a window because they were mad at each other. So the tempers are up in the training room, which is good for training.
Some would question where you were going to go or what path you were going to take coming off of the loss. Well, is it safe to say the goal is still bare knuckle and it's regaining the belt?
Yeah, absolutely. I got nothing else on the table. I'm not looking for anything else.
What has it been about this sport that has kind of magnified all of the skills and all of the knowledge that you've put together throughout this combat sports career?
Man, I would say the timing, the money is good, and then people always laugh when I say this, but I would say it's been easier on my body, right? MMA, I've got a lot of mileage on me, so MMA is tougher for me, to get my body ready. Not for the fight. If I could show up and fight, I could do it all the time. But the training camps are brutal. In any kind of fighting. When I was kickboxing, whatever, the training camps are always worse. But I had a bit of a career resurgence coming to BKFC, and I also think that just mentally. I did MMA so long that switching over to fighting with BKFC was like a different challenge. It was fresh, it was new, and it was exciting. So I'm still excited about it and been having a bunch of fun.
First time I had heard of Chris Camozzi in a personal story. I have a photographer buddy that used to work with the UFC, Will Fox. And he's like,
Yeah.
dude, I was on a flight once. We're on the way back home. He's like, I think I had to go to Denver. And I look on the flight, and not too far away from me is Chris Camozzi. He's like, we chatted up. He was a great guy, very personal. What has it been about you and your journey that still kept you that guy, accessible to the fans and approachable?
I think just appreciation, right? I understand that the money I make comes from the fans, and I've been a fan. I am a fan. I've gotten to meet a ton of the fighters that I looked up to forever, who I'm friends with now, and they're just always cool people. I don't think there's any reason to be an asshole. I can even remember as a kid any athlete that ever wouldn't sign something for me or anything. I remember those more than I remember the ones that did, unfortunately. And I just never wanted to be that guy. I'm not better than anybody. I didn't come from having everything. I come from pretty much nothing, and I just have an appreciation for it, and I have a great life.
You're on the hunt to regain that belt, to regain the undisputed status from a guy that worked so hard, never got that opportunity to ask you, what did it mean though, winning that title and achieving the goal of having world champion with your name?
Oh man, that meant the world to me. I got 20 years in fighting, right? Combat sports, fighting, whatever you want to call it. I got 20 years, and being able to take that belt home meant a ton to me. It was kind of like earning my black belt in jiu-jitsu. That also was a time that meant a ton to me, because these are accomplishments that I can look back on later in my life, and just know that I achieved that goal.
He's a Denver staple, a combat sports vet, a world champion former, and looking to do it again. Chris Camozzi, this was truly a pleasure to get to talk with you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.